Hey, everybody, and welcome. Today, my guest is. You want to go with the full Thomas?
You can call me Tom. You can call me Thomas. You can call me Tom Ass. It doesn't really matter. Either way is fine.
I won't call you Tom Ass, just to be nice. But
Oh, thank you.
Brainsky,
Yes.
Mr. Brainsky is
The
here
one,
today.
the only, the legendary.
Is there more than one? Is there a family of Brainskys?
I mean, there's no other Tom Brainsky that I'm aware of.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody else in the family took the moniker of Thomas, huh?
They wouldn't want the pain that comes from it.
Oh, okay. So Brainsky's really your name. So, like, what would be the origin of Brainsky? Like, what's the historical part of that?
Historically speaking, we come from a land called Kiev or Kiev, depending on when it's being pronounced.
If it involves chicken or not, and then
no, definitely not that. Although that's not a bad thing. But anyway, so we originally came from there many, many years ago, came over on a boat. Ellis Island took our name, shredded it, and came up with Brainsky. So
okay.
That is actually where that comes from. It is gift of Ellis Island from what used to be like Brygininsky Gaia or something.
Oh, okay. So it was a longer
alphabet soup.
A longer name, possibly with some more syllables, and then they just shortened it, and they're like, Brainsky.
You know what? You got too many syllables. We're just going to do this.
You're a smart ass. We'll just call you Brainsky. How's that?
Now you're American. America.
Yeah, now you're here. We can do what we want. So, What are you going to say? You don't even speak the language.
Barely.
Yeah, that was. I'm just assuming. I have no clue what. I'm sure there was nice people on Ellis Island, but I'm always sure assuming everybody was a jerk. To be honest,
salt of the earth beats the crap out of me. So long ago.
A lot of people filing in. They're like, I got a bureaucracy at work.
I mean, you figure if you're a bunch of people on Ellis Island, you got all these people coming across who are getting off of boats, and like half of them have diseases you've never even heard of before. You're probably just like most people were during COVID, like, oh, somebody please get me a mask, or better yet, get me some underwear to wear on my face.
Underwear to wear on your face. That's nice. So apparently you were.
People did that during COVID.
You were one of the
fascinating.
The thong wearers, were you during the pandemic?
No, I didn't bring myself to go to that. I was one of those rich people that afforded masks, but still avoided using them like a plague.
You had the N95.
Oh, hell no. I wouldn't wear that damn thing. Are you kidding me? No, actually, you know what I did, though? Fun story on COVID. So when COVID first broke out, I own multiple businesses, and one of them is airline related. And so I found myself flying in and out of Europe and like Pakistan and all kinds of places, bringing people back to the United States because there was no other air traffic. There was no flights by anybody else. So it was just charter flights operating. So I was operating on a charter flight as a crew member. And the airline I worked for found these masks because you couldn't get masks at the time either. So they found these things, and they were super, super thin. Like you could breathe through these things so beautifully. They literally did nothing. It was almost like cafeteria lunch lady masks type things.
You were in compliance then.
But I was wearing a mask. And so what happened was, the flight attendants were complaining. They're like, we can't have these on board. We're handing these out to the passengers. It's not safe. It's not safe. We're not safe. And so once I got back to the States, the airline finally was able to procure a lot of normal, surgical masks,
Right, yeah.
And they're like, just take these off the airplane, dispose of them. Okay. And so I took them home. And so I had this box of thousands of these shitty ass masks that you could see my face through. They were so thin. But that didn't bother me at all because I didn't give a crap. I wanted to breathe. Right. And I'm a heartless asshole. I don't care. You know what? My mask doesn't protect you. Your mask doesn't protect me. Kiss my ass. And so I was like, I did the exercise. I go to Walmart, have my little mask on. People look at me like, hell,
is that a mask? Is it more like a hairnet?
Yeah, right. And so that's how I did COVID.
Did you have the scruff then with wearing the mask? Did you have the facial?
Sometimes,
scruff?
Which would really bother me because it would show through.
Right. Yeah. It would stick.
Sometimes I can only shave once a week. Any more than that, it's like my face gets really bothered. I don't know what that's about. So I end up scruffing it periodically.
Well, that's all right. I mean, Curious. So now you mentioned in that little story there, you mentioned something. I'm like, wait a minute. You're like, oh, I own many businesses. What are you talking to a blue cat in the afternoon if you own many businesses that just afford you to do that? Or
I mean, sometimes talking to a blue cat through a cartoon microphone is just kind of fun.
Okay. So it's kind of a break in your day. So what would you say if I said Brainsky, what's Brainsky's main occupation? What would you tell me?
Entrepreneur. How's that for nondescript?
Wow, look at that.
Right? So let me unleash.
Yeah, it's right. I got Brainsky
on your audience the greatness that is this guy.
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, I wouldn't say them anything that amazing, but yeah. So I own a dental laboratory. I own an airline service, like a charter airline service provider company. Badass, by the way. It's like totally unique. Airlines that do charter flights, they'll hire a guy like me, and we kind of coordinate everything that happens on the ground. So it's kind of fun.
Oh, okay. So you're getting people in and out of places.
Yeah, basically. I was just in Israel a couple of weeks ago, and
that's not anything to brag about at the moment.
That was
the fact that you're not in Israel right now is probably the better part.
Honestly, that was the scariest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, because it was bad news there a couple of weeks ago. It's still bad news, but bad news for flying.
It was very scary. I have been to a lot of places. I've been near war zones before. I've been all over the world. I've had guns pointed at me, which can be scary. Don't get me wrong. But that's usually a very, very quick thing. Somebody's pointing a gun at you. It doesn't last for an hour, usually, unless you're really fucked something up.
Yeah, well, unless you're held hostage or something.
Which, I mean, even then, I feel bad for the guy. He's sitting there with the gun pointed at you the whole damn time. It gets heavy, Put it on a stand.
Wait, relax. It's okay. We'll be all right. I'll stay right here.
Do something. No, so this was very unique, though, because it was I knew where I was going, and I knew what could happen. And I knew that I'd be there for at least an hour. And I mean, an hour in life is not really all that long when you think about it. But, when you know where you're going and, there's a possibility that rockets are flying over your head.
Right. Yeah. You got to take
the crazy thing. The crazy thing was the lead up to it, because, we normal mere mortals and cartoons don't generally, we don't think in terms of mortality, right? And so knowing that I'm going into harm's way, I'm going into an active war zone, not near, but to, there is obviously a higher level of potential of something bad happening. Now, I didn't think that something bad was going to happen. I just knew that the potential was there. So therefore you get scared. And so I had to call my life insurance company. Hey, am I covered?
You should have told them.
Do I have coverage?
We're dropping your coverage right now.
Am I covered going into an active war zone? Yes. Oh, thank God. All right. My wife and kids are going to be okay without me. They won't miss me. And then getting to the airport and going, yeah, you know what? I need to call my wife, and I need to tell her where my car is in case I don't come back. I hate to see a widow trying to find a car in a major airport parking lot.
She just write it off. That'd be You probably got like a Honda.
It's an old car.
Or something.
It's a 2014. It's got 172,000 miles on it. Leave it there. Nobody's going to give a crap about it.
No, they won't even find it for a year or two.
Just let it collect dust. Someone will pick it up.
Yeah, exactly.
What do I have in there? Like DVDs for the kids? Get new ones. And so, but you have to think in terms of mortality, and it just scares the living crap out of you. What do you say to people? What do you say to your mother? Right? You're going to call your mother. Hey, by the way, Mom, this could be the last time I'm talking to you. What?
Maybe.
Love you.
Maybe.
So you just kind of go through the paces a little bit differently than you normally do.
Did she say, why do you bother? You don't call normally? Why are you calling me now to tell me this?
Well, I mean, thank goodness my mother does love me. And I love her too.
I love the hesitation. Yeah, I think I love her too. I'm not sure, but
she's a pretty great lady, most of the time.
Yeah.
So fucked up.
No, but somebody's delivering something. The dog's going nuts here.
Oh my God. Well, shoot the dog.
Yeah, no, we can't do that. It keeps us. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. So, yeah, so that happened. So the airline thing is totally awesome. I love it. It's an absolute blessing in my
Well, I
life.
guess you made it out, so we're talking. So
Look at me, here I am.
Did anybody take some, like any shots at you, or just like playing around?
No. I mean, the thing that really freaked me out was the mechanic on my flight was there a few days earlier on another charter, and he had he's like, hey, check this out. I got a video on my phone of rockets overhead with the Iron Dome doing its thing.
Right.
While I was going to a shelter, and I'm like, oh.
Wow.
What the hell am I going into? What am I doing?
Yeah.
Why did I do? What am I? No.
Were you bringing people out? I mean, because a lot of folks got trapped.
The whole purpose of me over there was to help evacuate people because they can't get out. Okay. So,
well, that's very nice. Yeah. I mean, there was some, because the timing of everything was such that there was quite a few people over there at a time. I think of a holiday and so forth, and they got stuck for a while.
Yeah, the flight that we operated, and I will not disclose much information at all for security purposes. Should anything ever happen like this again, but we had to make multiple stops due to crew legality issues and things like that. And so the passengers were initially told it would be like either nonstop to undisclosed location in the States, or one stop. And so they had a basic framework of it could be about 17 hours, and this was going to be about 22. And so I was talking to one of the passengers once we were up in the air, and first of all, this airplane was just absolute gratitude. Everyone on board was just insane gratitude for the fact that we got them out. I mean, that made it incredibly rewarding. It was so incredibly rewarding to participate in something like this, because the reality is lives may have been saved. Do I know that? No, I don't. But had they stayed, you never know. And these people had that gratitude. And that's what was so rewarding about it. But the guy, this guy was like, listen, I wouldn't care if you told me I had 10 stops before I got home. I am so happy to be on board right now. I don't care.
As long as we're out of here. But he goes, really? No Pepsi? I mean,
none of that, and you hit that sometimes. I've done evac missions before where you get a lot of complaints, and not a lot, but you have some. These people just absolute wonderful people, and it was a thrill to be able to participate.
That's wild. Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of have kind of a for lack of a better term, a pretty good existence in the sense that you're going to do kind of these interesting things, and then in between that you kind of get to joke around a little bit, and so it's not like so many people are in the grind, so you're in the grind every day. You got to go to an office, or worse yet, go dig ditches or something.
Yeah.
So you got a pretty good life.
I got a great life, man. I am truly blessed. I get to talk to a blue cat cartoon today. I mean, you want to talk about blessed? I am blessed.
That's wild. So how did you get to this point? Were you just born and they're like, Brainsky number 3, third generation Brainsky. Thank you for being a Brainsky. We're gonna name you Thomas, which is a negative, but that's okay. You were still gonna get these businesses, dental thing, and
no. I wish it was cool like that. You gotta be. For me, I'm a good failure, and that's how it all comes together. I'm good at failing. I'm successful in life because I fail very well. I make mistakes. I fall down. I get kicked. I get beaten. I get back up. I get knocked down. I trip. I fall. I get back up. And I mean, that's just it's the way I have to live my life. I know there are other people who are blessed with opportunities that fall in their laps with joy and grace, and it's like, what the fuck? Why is that? I don't get that kind of, but I learned how to fail early on and how to get back up. And so I've been able to parlay that very basic maneuver throughout my entire business career. And so I get to
That's
do
really
what I like to do. And I mean, look, it's not all fun and games, obviously, you know. I have precedents. I have a dental lab. You got to think of things like, how do I make payroll?
Right.
You know, recently I've started getting involved in like tax strategies because I was red pilled. And it's such an experience being red pilled. I was like, oh my God, the whole world's got to learn about this. This is insane. We're all overpaying our taxes. So I got that going on. I have my podcast, Brainsky Unleashed, which, you know, everyone should like, subscribe, you know, give me 5 stars because anything less is unacceptable.
Well, what if it's a 10-point scale? And I mean, 5 stars, maybe.
I mean, if it's a 10-point scale, you give me an 11. I mean, this is how this works.
All right. Let's just make sure we got it all right there. So,
you know, all of your listeners need to be, you know, looking me up and subscribing and giving me 5 stars.
To ski in the brain.
Because if they don't, then that's just fucked up.
So tell me, I'm very curious about this trajectory here. So, okay, you know, you grow up, you're a kid, you're having fun and everything, and then you hit the critical point, you know, that everybody has called adulthood, right? So I'm assuming that you, just because you're wearing glasses, I'm assuming you went to college.
No, I'm uneducated. Actually, no, that's not a safe assumption. I am not a college educated guy. I did a semester. I had 3 classes. I dropped 2, and I don't think I even really necessarily completed the 3rd. I almost failed out of high school. I graduated at the bottom of the class. Some people go for the top, and good for them.
Right. Yeah.
I was 14th from the bottom out of like 440, something like that. 450. Wow, I don't know, whatever. I was pretty low. It was really, you had to work at being that bad.
So you're not necessarily severely motivated in the academic realm.
Not at all. Academia just doesn't fit with me. I can't spell it. But I've been working though since I was young, and I think that's probably what.
Okay, let's do the. That's
probably what helped. I started mowing lawns at 11.
Hey, me too.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mow lawns at 11. I started working at 11 though. I always love to tell my children this because they hate it. I've been working since I was 11 years old.
But it's true.
Yeah.
You know, and
so you already jumped into it at 11.
I was forced into it. It was forced labor, Bob.
Well, labor. Why were you forced?
Well, I wanted a Sony Walkman with Mega Bass.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, it always, when you're young like that, there's always a motivator. Item or something like a bike. I bought a bike, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bike, which was great, but I wanted to be able to have a Sony Walkman so I could play my tapes and have Mega Bass so I could feel the music in my Sony headphones. And so I started working very early on because my father was like, listen, you know, you can absolutely get that. I'm like, oh, sweet. He goes, but you got to earn it. I'm like, what?
But I'm not paying for it.
And he's like, you got to mow the lawn. I'm like, okay. And he's like, no, not my lawn, other people's lawns.
You do my lawn for free.
I'm not paying you to mow my lawn.
Yeah.
I will hook you up with some neighbors and I will get you the jobs and you can do the work. And I'm like,
well, that was nice. So at least he kind of helped you. He helped you get some gigs there.
In all fairness, you know, he goes, I'll buy the gas. But you got to do all the work. And so I mowed this woman's lawn and did the edging and the weed whacking and the raking. And I hated every effing minute of it. There was no joy in this yard because it was hot. Her yard had a crazy slope. And I mean, I'm 11 years old. I'm not a big guy to begin with, even as an adult. So, you know, pushing that mower, dealing with that slope sucked. It sucked. But you know what? I got that damn Walkman. And I didn't stop because I liked money.
And he has it to this day. Hold it up for everybody to see. Oh no, never mind.
Major upgrade. iPhone 15, by the way.
Funny if you actually pull it out anyway.
iPhone 15, by the way, the latest and greatest. Now, I never, ever, ever get the latest and greatest iPhone, but I just happened to be on a trip, and I was in Minneapolis a few weeks ago. Actually, about a month ago or so. And my iPhone 8, which I never wanted to give up because it was the last one with the little button. I love the button.
Right. Yeah.
It took a shit. So I went over to the Mall of America and got myself a phone. And I said,
well, you got the Mall of America iPhone?
For Apple Store for $100 more or whatever it was. I'm like, all right, I'll get the latest and greatest. And so, yes. And by the way, it's now that I look at it on my desk, it's already becoming obsolete. So,
they pretty much fall off.
It's great news. Yeah.
So you started with mowing lawns, and that essentially kind of sparked your love of money, or we'll say the American dollar. Although maybe you speculate in other currencies. I don't know. We'll get to that.
I do have, I don't want to brag.
Yeah.
I have 250,000 Iraqi dinar.
Was it like one bill?
That's, it might be worth like $50 at this point.
I was going to say, I'm like, it's like the runaway inflation over there. They have these
after the second Gulf War, when Iraq was toppled, they had new currency, and I raced over and bought myself a lot of Iraqi dinar. I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? America is going to rebuild this country. They're going to do oil. It's going to be great. Speculator in chief here,
right?
And
yeah,
I'm going to make a killing. I might have lost money on that. Still, it's terrible.
I was gonna say, that's always a tough road.
I think it might have cost me like $150. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It was whatever it was.
That and running over. I mean, that
total waste.
Something.
Yeah.
when you're running over, it's like it was about $2,000 running over to get $150.
Yeah, go me.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this instilled you kind of got the fever. It sounds like, for this money business.
I got that scarlet fever for money.
What was the next thing after the?
I did lawns. Yeah, I did lawns for a while till I got old enough, and then got my first job doing it was a dishwasher. And
you went straight. You didn't stick with the. You weren't an entrepreneur from the beginning.
No. My entrepreneurial
everyday
spirit,
joke kind of thing, huh?
The real entrepreneurial spirit hit me after high school, when I really failed miserably. No. So I was washing dishes, and then I became a busboy, which was great because I didn't have to clean toilets anymore. So now I got to interact with people, and someone else could clean the toilets.
I don't like the busboys that have toilet hands.
Yeah, and so now it's like I get to take people. It was an Italian restaurant, actually, so it was a really fancy schmancy Italian restaurant. And so I got to take all of their messy plates and gave it to the busboy, and I'm like, I'm living like a freaking king now. I'm on top. I am on top. Yeah.
Busboy is way better than dishwasher.
Hell yeah. I don't have to clean grease traps anymore. Like, I'm living the dream. And then I made it. Then I left there and I went to a hotel. It was a hotel, but it was a nice brand new hotel that had a restaurant. I was a busboy there and got to work the banquet hall and do setup and tear down there.
Oh my Lord.
And then I became a front desk clerk, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. I am 16 years old. I'm front desk clerk. I'm checking people in and out. I'm living the dream, And and then I became a senior in high school. So I moved my way up there, and I started working for Domino's Pizza because I was on work study. And so I was able to justify to my computer class teacher that I could do work study and get out a half a day to go to work at Domino's, because I had to work on computers taking orders. So I'd leave school. I had no fucking use for school whatsoever.
What year was this?
1995 to 96.
Oh, okay. So there were actually somewhat computers at that point.
I didn't use them. That was for the order takers. I mean, every once in a while I'd have to jump on the phone to take an order, but I was driving, and I wasn't even driving after school. I'd go home from school.
There's a computer in the 90s. Cars got computers, so you can make that one as well.
I mean, there was one gig that just didn't work out, and they hooked me up with the National Asphalt Pavement Association to work in the mailroom. And that was the most boring job I've ever had in my life. I literally would take stacks of boxes full of magazines that no human would ever want to look at. And I would make myself in the mailroom, like a little hut, so I can sleep. Because there's nothing to do there. I'd go there and I'd put all the stamps on the mail, and the mail would be done within the first hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then what? So that was so horrible. And I had to drive down there. It was 40 minutes away. So I went back to my computer. Oh yeah. So I went back to my computer guy, teacher, and I was like, listen, I got a part-time job at night, but I can do this. And it's computers. Could you sign off on this? And so I bought off on it. So I would only work at night. So I'd leave school at 11:30, 12, and I go home, sleep, watch some TV while everyone else is in school. Cause like I said, I'm freaking use for school. And then I would go to Domino's and I start delivering, but then I get approached by the local Chinese restaurant guy. Oh. And I'm like, whoa, I can deliver Chinese.
He notes your delivery prowess.
Higher tips with Chinese versus pizza.
Really?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a higher value product. And so I started delivering Chinese food and pizza. That. So I was working.
Oh, wait a minute. So you were doing like a side gig with the Chinese place. He's like, hey, Domino's is paying you. You can keep all the tips. Just deliver this Chinese food while you're out.
Exactly. So
wow.
I parlayed that into, I've got some money now. And now I've got some
Brainsky Eats right here.
Oh yeah. So I've, and I mean, I love pissing money into my car because it was a fast car and I was having fun with it, It's a 1988 Pontiac Firebird 350. That's horsepower,
Yeah.
And so of course I'm delivering pizza in this car. Stupidest thing you could do. Things stunk. It stank like pizza, but I got it there really fast and had a lot of fun doing it. Anyway, so that ended up. I got entrepreneurial. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy and sell cars. I'm going to buy them at an auction, and I'm going to fix them up a little bit, and I'm going to sell them.
Oh, are you adept at mechanics and so forth?
Well, no, that's the problem.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah. So again, this is me failing to find out that I need to do other things.
Yeah.
And so I did that. Now, you want to talk about stupid. Well, I didn't have money for this. And so I took cash advances on credit cards at 24% because I'm going to flip this car.
Yeah.
And I had one good flip, which basically recovered what I had, but I still paid interest. So I wasn't really getting anywhere. But then I did another one and I made a little bit of money, about $400 or $500. And I'm like, yeah, look at me, Daddy Warbucks. And then I got one and I bombed miserably and lost. And so now I find myself.
And that was the Pontiac Aztec.
Oh God, no, believe it or not, I think I lost money on a Mazda RX-7 might have been. Oh no, it was a Mazda MX-6. I lost my ass on.
Oh, okay.
So now I didn't pay off the credit card was the problem.
Right. You're just siphoning money from the credit card, right?
So now because I'm such a fucking genius, I'm now 18, 19 years old. Now hitting 20. I guess hitting 20 years old. I've got $22,000 of credit card debt financed at 24%. And I'm delivering Chinese food part-time. It wasn't going so hot. So my father
was that like a realization moment whenever all this kind of came to fruition?
I had big dreams. I want to do lots of things. I got involved in a multi-level marketing scam. So I fell into that and blew money there too. It was just bad. So my father basically pulls me aside, and he tells me that I'm a fucking idiot. He was nice enough actually to tell all of my neighbors that and my family. So really good way to build you up, right? Get that self-esteem going. But he wasn't necessarily wrong about the fact that I was acting like a fucking idiot, but it's not really good to hear. Thanks, Dad. Love you. Yeah. We get along now, but weren't really getting along so well at the time. Yeah. And so
he did get you the mowing gig. So
he did that.
Got that.
Yeah. So anyway, quick story about that. So I was very independent and I bought my own cars. I paid for my own stuff. So my father got real mad at me one day in high school. Rewind real quick. And he's like, God damn it, I'm gonna pull the distributor off your car so you can't drive. Okay, go ahead. I'll get the tow truck over here and I'll have it towed. I'll have it fixed and I'll be driving later today. It's just, when you're self-sufficient, it's really hard to hold somebody back. Just saying.
Sure.
So anyway, there I was. I'm just knee deep in debt and getting nowhere fast. And obviously, my father's calling me a fucking idiot. But he did say, "Listen, you need to get a real job. What do you want to do with your life?
What's a real job?
Everything else up. You sucked in school. We wasted taxpayer money on you. You should actually pay the taxpayers back for your education. These are those loving conversations a father has with their son.
You know, you're from Kiev, just like the chickens. Come on, pull yourself together.
You know, you pissed away whatever money we bothered to throw into your college that was community college anyway, and couldn't get that back because you fucked that up. So what do you want to do with your life? You know, and I'm like, well, I don't know. He's like, do you like to travel, don't you? I'm like, yeah. He's like, why don't you be a flight attendant? I'm like, oh, yes. Yes.
Well, yeah, and you're small. He said you're small.
Oh, so my God. I mean, I'm 5'7", but, you know. And so
in width, not height so much.
But oh, right. Yeah. But here's the thing. I couldn't get a job as a flight attendant at 20 years old. Most airlines, most of the majors didn't want to hire people that young. And every single time I go to any interview, whether it was a group interview or one-on-one interview, I don't think I got the job because I'm not gay. Now, I'm not trying to be all offensive or whatever, but I had the theory because I couldn't get this job. And it's like I was enthusiastic and I could do announcements. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Pan Am Airlines Flight 102, and like they didn't even think that was cool, This is how you buckle your seatbelt. There are 5 exits on this airplane.
Right, yeah. Their arms.
And I couldn't get it up. So I'm like, shit. So I go to the airport, my local airport. I'm going ticket counter to ticket counter, just trying to find a job. Do you have any applications? And
luggage guy.
And yeah. And this one guy goes, well, listen, yeah, we're not an airline. We service airlines. Because the airlines that we work with, they don't have a big enough presence to have their own people here, but we are hiring, and there's a HR office, across the airfield. So I went over there and I got a job. I got a job, and I was so proud because they made me take a math test, and I suck at math, and I passed. But I got a job, and I mean it was shit pay, but it didn't matter because I got a job. And my parents were, going through divorce, and my father.
Well, yeah, because he took the distributor cap off your mom's car because she was going around.
It was my car. My
no,
car.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm putting the divorce.
She didn't have dinner on the table on time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. Totally not like that. But anyway.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. I'm like, you're going to be abused as a child?
No. It's nothing like that. Thank God.
Okay.
Yelling, maybe, getting jacked up against the wall, maybe, but no actual true violence there. It's everyone's childhood. Come on. Yeah, so anyway, I worked hard there, and I had to because my parents got the divorce and then they sold the house, and I didn't want to go with my father across the country, and I didn't want to go with my mother to where she went. And so basically I was becoming homeless by way of a divorce. And so I ended up getting an apartment, an absolute shitbag apartment that I could barely afford. And I had to choose between, do I pay the rent on time this month or stock up with like food and then pay the rent later? I mean, it was back and forth. I'd always have like these eviction notices on my door every other month. It was just eat or, it sucked. And I never got
to the Chinese food delivery. You could have nipped the appetizer.
I was so busy at the airport, and I was doing passenger service and, a ticket counter and gate and stuff like that. And I discovered
I lived on peanuts.
I was, yeah. And I was, and I mean, at nights, oh my God, at nights it was great because I'd get overtime. And so like I was being noticed by people who were, of better stature than I in the industry because I was working 60 to 70 hours a week. I mean, they'd literally see me constantly and I would bust my ass and I loved what I was doing. I was having a blast. Turns out I love airplanes. I got a passion for it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'd be cleaning dirty ass 747s that just came in out of Germany and the Middle East and just disgusting. And I'm just cleaning, having a good old time, getting extra money for that and getting extra money in case they were short on the ramp and slinging bags on the ramp. It didn't matter. I was working. I loved it. But I discovered charter flights. And there's this position within the charter world. And it's this position where it's like you get to be in charge of the whole operation. Mm-hmm. You're like an orchestra conductor. And I'm like, whoa, I want that job. And that job at an airport, even if it's charter flight or scheduled, is called a station manager. They're the highest ranking official for the airline at the airport. The next highest person is going to be at a headquarters somewhere. I'm like, well, that looks like a badass job. So I ended up, I got hired on by an airline. The guy told me, he's like, well, I can hire you, but you're going to have to take a pay cut and you're going to lose your benefits because it's part-time. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but I get to fly for free? Yes. Sign me up. Sign me up. I'm in. Yeah. And it's like, and I get to do what you do? Yes. And so I did that. And I ended up, not long after that, I made a name for myself with the airline. And within less than a year, I took over as the station manager for that airline as that guy moved on to another station. And so now I was the youngest station manager for the 10th largest major U.S. carrier in the history of the company. So
wow,
I like work. And I parlayed that into my own business, and then I parlayed that into other businesses. And so, yeah, that's kind of how that's like.
Well, how do you connect the dental supply with the airline?
Oh, it takes absolute stupidity. So what happens is, I left the airline and started my own company, so that way I could provide the same services to multiple airlines, which was great.
Right.
I actually have a relationship with almost every airline there is. It's wonderful, very well networked, and so it's like I had this money, that people would owe me, oh, look at that, honey. This is what you do. This is what happens on a Friday morning. You're sitting on the toilet and you take a dump. You get up, you go take a dump, you grab your phone. There you go. Oh, look at that. Another airline's gone bankrupt.
Right. Yeah.
Well, honey, that's how much did that airline owe us? Oh, 60,000. Yeah. We're not going to get that. And then you get sued 2 years later by the secured creditors. They create what's called secured creditor trust, and they sue all the little guys for everything they got paid, even 90 days before the bankruptcy filing. So it's really awesome. So then whatever that number is, you basically, and I got good at this. My cousin's attorney, God bless him, he told me what to do. And so now instead of using attorneys, after I went through 2 of these lawsuits with attorneys, now I just would be like, okay, I'm going to call the opposing counsel. I'm going to offer them 20 cents on the dollar, and I'll wire it to their bank at the end of the week. Mm-hmm. That's cheaper.
And done is done, right?
That. So whatever the total amount is that they want, 100,000, right? I'm going to wire you $20,000, and you're going to go away, and you're going to give me a piece of paper that says that you can never come after me again.
Right? Yeah.
Done, and as horrible as it is, that's how that works.
It's terrible.
It's pretty bad, but it's legal. It's called preferential payments. Preferential payments. The bane of my existence. So I took that and I was like, well, honey, maybe we should buy something that isn't airline. Let's, we know how to run a business. We're super smart people. Look at what we've been through. Here's a dental lab. It's nearby. It's for sale. We should buy that. It's dental. We're going to be rich. So you learn a lot of things by making a lot of mistakes. And that's kind of the long and the short of it.
How interesting. So, but yeah, I mean, you've been able to make it, obviously. You say, you're still working, you're still in the industry, you're still
have successful companies. I still travel the world. Yeah. I still do lots of things. I still get to help people. I still get to talk to cartoons.
So what was, whenever you got your airline situation, what was the first place that you, on your free travel situation, where did you go?
My first international trip.
Your passport must look amazing.
They stopped stamping them. It really pisses me off. But my first one, I've stepped on every continent except for Antarctica at this point. I've at least worked on every continent, vacationed on most. I think my first trip out of the country might have been Aruba. I had to go do a charter program down in Aruba. It was fabulous.
That's interesting. So, but I mean, so other than the recent situation, most of the time I'm assuming that you get to go to places that aren't, half bad to go to. I mean, you're not.
I have been to some of the most beautiful places on Earth and some of the world's worst armpits.
Really? I wonder what are they going to the armpits for?
Because sometimes you operate a charter flight. It's got to move certain people to certain places.
So, like, are you doing like the doctors in, what do they call them?
Doctors Without Borders? No.
Yeah, Doctors Without Borders.
Again, there's only so much that I can say.
No, I understand.
But let's just say that I've gone to many places that are amazing and some that are absolute shitholes. But they all have stories, and that's the fun part.
That's weird.
I mean, like, I love Bora Bora. It's my favorite place on Earth. I absolutely love Bora Bora.
I'm trying to remember where Bora Bora is. That's in
South
the Pacific. Yeah,
South Pacific. Okay. Yeah, way down there.
Way out in the Pacific, isn't it? It's one of the hopping islands, right, to get across the Pacific?
Yeah. You'd hop to it, but you wouldn't hop through it. I'll put it that way. That is a destination. That is not a connection. It's a destination.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of times with smaller planes, they got to bounce from island to island.
Yes, that is correct. You're not going to go in there on a jumbo jet. And I mean, for me, I always, I work with, large Boeing aircraft or Airbus aircraft, big jets, lots of seats, lots of people. Not little Lear jet stuff. Those are those are cute. They could fit inside the cargo holds of the airplanes that I fly.
So this is kind of your niche, and you've been running. How many years would you say, if you can, how many years would you say you've been doing this now?
Only 25.
You started 20 years, so.
Yeah, only 25.
Oh, okay. Actually, you look younger than that, to be honest with you. So.
Yeah, well, that's because I look like a paper boy. I always have.
That's funny. So then, is there any other businesses that you've got going that I mean, obviously you're doing a podcast. What is that? Are you looking at that as a business as well? Is that your idea?
I mean, it's fun for me. I love talking to people. And what I'm finding through the podcast is that I'm actually helping people who come on my show. I mean, through the other business that I'm with being Profit Max, that's profitmax.co, profitmax.co, keep your cash. Yeah. There, I just placed a commercial on your show. Yeah. Keep your cash. That one is great because I get to.
Why are you doing .co instead of .com?
I had nothing to do with that. That was not my actual business. Oh, okay. My partner. I guess they couldn't get we couldn't afford the M.
Okay.
I love doing it because I can help small business owners that don't realize that they're screwed, and they are screwed. Every single one of them. They trust their CPA and they are screwed. Not that all CPAs are bad. That's not the case. But we did a study and found that 93% of business owners are overpaying in their taxes. And I mean, I was one of them. They're overpaying anywhere between 34 to 71%. And they're doing that because the CPAs don't have time to really make sure that every single freaking deduction is there. Every single tax credit and deduction is there according to the tax code to avoid paying tax. It is legal to avoid taxes by using this tax code. It is illegal to evade paying taxes.
Right.
There's a difference. Right. And so I love being able to help these people because, there's some businesses. I'll give you one example. I was able to help a fellow dental laboratory save $1.2 million. That's a massive number.
That's a big number.
That's a big number. I had another one the other day, $50,000, or a much smaller business. So, I mean, if you have anyone that's actually listening to your program, find me at profitmax.co, profitmax.co. One more time, profitmax.co. Keep your cash, because the fact is, everyone is paying too much in tax, and everything that we do is 100% legal according to the tax code. And the company that we work with that does a lot of the processing with us will stand behind it, so much so that they will sit first chair in an audit and defend you. I mean, it's and we don't have a lot of audits because of that.
How many chairs are there in an audit? I have no idea.
I think there might be 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
One for the auditor.
You said first chair.
Yeah, it's an expression, right?
How many?
I don't even know where that expression comes from. Maybe it's like an auditorium. Everyone gets to sit
the first chair usually is a orchestra thing. So your first chair, and then they have like three tiers of people playing violas, and you're in the you're the
I'm in the horn section.
Yeah. So back to your show.
And I only have 3 minutes left, Bob. I totally apologize, but I do have a hard stop.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
we'll wrap it up here.
Yeah.
So you have because we're almost on the hour here. So you have the show, but you want to do more with the show than just the tax stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy creating the content. Hopefully one of these days I'll be wildly monetized. But I just enjoy creating the content, talking to people.
That's the name of your next business, Wildly Monetized.
Wildly Monetized with Tom Brainsky.
Yeah, write that down there.
Yes. .co. Wildlymonetized.co.
Yeah, we don't pay. We save money by not paying for the M, so we don't charge you more.
That's right.
Well, I hope that folks will listen to your show. It's on the screen right now. I'm assuming that's the main one there, Brainsky.
Yeah. And I mean, I got to get a better website for it anyway, because I'm just that cheap.
You need to get a .co so you can save about $5.
I need to get BrainskyUnleashed.co.
.co, so you're saving money.
Yes.
But thanks.
But really, find me at profitmax.co. That is probably the best way to find me, and that's where I can have the biggest impact for you. And by the way, anyone who has been paid as a 1099 or owns a small business, there is literally money on the table that you are not taking, that you are legally entitled to. Call me.
There you go. I'll put
there we go. Look at that. Happy to help.
Because some people.
CO, not com. CO.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right.
I can see how you made that mistake.
See what I'm doing here?
Look at that. It just
there
comes to
oh,
you.
there we
You
go.
want to say no,
By the
there
way, I just got profitmax.com. So if you want to buy it off me, no, I'm just joking. Sorry about that. I just have it typing the M in there. See what happens.
I know.
They brainwash shit.
Trust me.
I know you got to go. Thank you for talking to me, Thomas, today. And it was a lot of fun. And folks can find you. There it is on the screen or at Brainsky Unleashed, and find out more about what's going on with Thomas Brainsky.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob.
Even by his name, he's he's doing a lot.
Something like that, right? All right. Thank you again. I appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye.